Johnny V here, and I'm going to show you how to build a smoker to locate an EVAP leak, a P0042, basically using whatever I could just find laying around. And so for me, maybe it's virtually zero cost. Some of this stuff is from other projects, and you'll see how I constructed some of these other items. And well, let's get right at it. And this is a way to save quite a lot of money, seeing that a professional unit like this could cost several $1,000s. And you don't really need anything that sophisticated. The last thing you need is another tool. So what we did, we started out with a pickle jar, okay? And okay, I probably could have cleaned it a little bit better. And I picked this because it does have a really good seal, and that's part of what we're looking for here. And you'll notice I had to make two holes. And here's one of those tools that I haven't used probably in 10 or 15 years that worked perfectly well to cut this out, the bigger one. And I needed a smaller one, and I used one of these step drills, really kind of a neat tool. So just a little thing on the side there. And the reason why I had to cut this, first thing I did, I located this thing, which was kind of nice because the air compressor I'm going to use, this portable little thing, this would attach very nicely to that, which was good. But the problem was, even though this isn't a very powerful unit, and it would take a long time really to get to a pretty high PSI, you still need to, you don't want the thing to blow up the jar or something like that from the pressure. So one of the vacuum tests, the vacuum test tools that I have, had a T, and of course I had to find tubing that would fit that T, and a way to attach that to this. So let me show you how we construct this first. And the problem was, this was for an air mattress filler cap, okay, that's threaded inside, which is really nice. So I had to look around, what could I use to attach this to the lid? And what I found two items around the house that worked fine. One of them was actually an automotive additive, and it was full, and I didn't really know how to empty that, but I had this hand soap bottle here, a plastic bottle. That was pretty neat. And what you can see is I cut this out, and so I don't need that anymore. And this was good because it's threaded, and not only that, it's got a lip here. So actually it could make a really good seal if you do this. You stick that on the inside, and even that kind of threads in, as you'll see. All right, and then screw this on the outside. And we're in business. Okay, so that was step one. And I needed the other hole, and I'll explain all that later. And what I used here, if I'm doing this right, which I am, is this section here. And I had to go again to my my vacuum tools, where I had these two items here. Let's see what they look like, because I had a few of those. They look like that. So I already had these. You might have to buy them though. What that is a 3/16 coupling is what I use, but they come in different sizes. And I went with this, and let me make sure I'm doing this right. So the object here was, I also needed, that fit nice and tight in the center here, which was good. So this end I want to stick this end in first. And I wanted to use some sort of a rubber washer or something. So what I did, I had these propane bottles where I had a cap on one of them. So I cut the cap and I got myself a little washer here. And that will fit nice and tight here, like so. Now, put it through the hole. And I didn't have two of those, but I did have this roll of Protecto wrap, which I got quite a bit left. So I cut a small square out of there. You know, I rounded it, make it look more like a washer, drilled a hole through it to fit nice and tight on this, and just kind of stretch that over this. And see, we're doing this live. I haven't put this together yet. So you got to bear with me. And of course it's sticky on one end, which is also kind of nice. And flatten that down. And so this is an old rubber hose. It was in a box with all kinds of parts from cars long gone, so it was used, but it's pretty clean. And I cut another piece of that off, and that goes on the inside. It fits nice and tight, you'll see. And there. And the reason why I did this like that, instead of just cementing that in or something, which it was an option, I could have epoxied that in or something, it won't pull out easily doing it this way. So that was one of the things that I was thinking about. So here's what we got so far. You can see that. And it screws perfectly nice. Maybe. There. And see, I'm leaving myself an option here, by the way, that if this leaks at all, well, we always got our good old Flex Seal or clear RTV that can be used. So, you know, these are products we usually have laying around. The other thing is we need something to make the smoke, okay? And where nobody could see, there was this, because it was behind a bunch of furniture and stuff, there was this piece of wall base molding. So I hacked the corners off so that it would slide into the jar there. Oops, and not upside down though. That way. Okay, so now it sits in the jar. Bless you. That's my assistant sneezing. And believe it or not, that comes out. And I drilled some nice small holes in it, and we got we had this old incense laying around. Okay, and I'd probably be incensed if I had to spend money to buy it, but you don't have to, because here we go. The holes are just to hold these sticks, and of course the trick will be to get that in there without having them fall out or anything. And it might be kind of hard to do, but it's possible. And you probably need to light them before you get in there, unless you use a torch or something to light them. But I think it's easier to do it out here. So we'll get to that in a minute, because I'm gonna want to test this live. So, and of course, you know, I really could have used one piece of tubing here, but the problem was, this is what I had. Okay, this was from some sort of a one of those siphons. This clear tubing. Whoops. And that works. It's still got a charge. We'll get to that. So what I want to do is fit this now. Or is that what I want to do? Where's the other piece? Yeah, this is the part that's going to go through the compressor. And so we want to fit this at this point. And so what I had to do here, see, I could have gone directly here, with this compressor. It would have been nice, really, to do it that way, and you're in business. But I had to think about what if those PSIs get too high, and you're going to be pumping smoke into the EVAP system on the car, and that may be too much pressure for that too. So in this way, by having the T, this is open, and it'll relieve that pressure. The other choice would have been to use a regulator, but I didn't want to spend the money on one. And some of those can be expensive. I know they have some cheap ones. And I really wanted to take this tubing, make it as tight as possible. And again, you know, if it leaks or something like that, there's solutions for that. So, we got that on there. And a pencil. I'm going to show you the list, by the way, of what I used here anyway, a bit. And we'll keep the camera on it so you could always roll the video back and refer to that. But you really want to use whatever you got laying around and find some other creative way if need be. But the pencil could be jammed in there. Or you could have used something to pinch the tubing, but I couldn't find anything. So, but the pencil works perfect. Jam that thing in there, and it's plugged. And you can unplug it when the pressure starts to get too high. Then we have off the car with the EVAP leak, which I can't re-register because of the emissions test because of the leak and the engine light on. So I took this off for one of the tires. This was just a valve extender for the tubeless tire. And that's in there nice and tight. And so this will go on that really nicely. Perfect fit. So the only other thing we need to contend with was this tubing here, which this is just a little loose. Okay, so I might have to do something to tighten that up a little bit. And there's a lot of ways to do that. So I'm not going to worry about it right now. We want to test the system. And so the whole point is you create smoke in the bottle. Your air compressor here forces air into the bottle, which will force the smoke out of this. And with the other tubing long enough to reach to where you needed to introduce the smoke into that EVAP system. And this will be part 2 where I actually do that with the vehicle. So you'll have to come back to see that. I'll try to do it as soon as I can because I really need to get the car fixed. But so let's at this point let's do it. So what we want to do, let's find out what happens. I made provision for a lot of these sticks, okay, but I'm just going to start out with 5, and we'll just see how much smoke we produce and take it from there. And like I said, the trick is going to be getting this thing in the bottle there. And it might have been nice to just use a propane torch or something. I mean, if I filled this, piece of wood all the way, all the holes that I drilled with the incense, it might be easier to light it up with a propane torch or something. Nice big flame and get them all going. So this one's stubborn. There you go. I mean, who knows how old these are. And so let's get that in there as carefully as we can. Not bad. No, it smells pretty good. All right. And maybe they're not all going. but they're going. So now, let's cap it. And again, you know, if there's some small leaks, I can seal these after the test, where I see how this works. And we can revisit it. That's nice and snug there. And you know, we'll just look. This is loose. You know, maybe I could use some electrical tape around that or something, and that'll tighten that sucker right up. So now, so let's see what happens. Here we go. We want ignition. See how many PSI we got. It's still at 0. Actually, I don't see any leaks really. And what I want to do maybe is let that jar build up some smoke. You can look inside the jar there. And see, now there's no smoke. I'll use the top back in. It's not bad. I think with about, I must have at least 20 holes there, maybe more. If I lit all those up, that would be quite a bit of smoke. And it would last, you can see that would last quite a while because those sticks haven't burned down very much. So, there's other videos out there, same kind of a topic. And some, I noticed some great ideas, a lot of different approaches with this, and it's just a matter of creativity. Find a way to pull this off. And here's the list that I put together, and do excuse my handwriting, which I know is god awful, but she'll stay focused on that for a little bit, so that you could always move the video back to where the list is if you want to try something similar to this. And so we're about ready to sign off. Till next time, until I do the actual, try to locate the leak, using this. So Johnny V here. So this is Johnny V here signing off. And just so you know, I'm not just a pretty face. I'm also the guitarist for the rock band Under Red, located in Boston. And yeah, I realize we're not everybody's cup of tea, but if you like this video, you found it helpful, maybe you like our music too. Who knows? Give it a shot. And you can actually be an email subscriber for free, www.underred.com. There are 2 R's in there. And at the bottom of the home page, there's a sign up box. All you got to do is stick the email in there, nothing more. And you'll also find music on SoundCloud. You can play it right off of that page, right on there. So check it out. And until next time, see you later.